Hello, and welcome to the Designing with Love podcast. I am your host, Jackie Pellegrin, where my goal is to bring you information, tips, and tricks as an instructional designer. Hello, GCU students and alumni. Welcome to episode 6 of the Designing with Love podcast. Today, I have the honor of interviewing an expert who is also a friend of mine and a former coworker, Anthony Clark. Welcome, Anthony. Thank you for joining me today on this podcast interview.
Oh, Jackie, thanks so much for allowing me to be here. I was looking forward to this.
Absolutely, definitely. So first, let's jump right in and have you tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, again, my name's Anthony Clark. I'm married to my wonderful wife, Stacy. We've been married for 30 years. We've got two great and grown sons, Nathan and Ethan. We moved to Arizona 22 years ago. I was offered a position in what was called the machining industry. I was a machinist, and which was my starting career out of community college. When I got here, not many months after, they had a large layoff. It was right at 9/11. And so, being one of the new guys, I was let go. And that started my journey into education, training, and instructional design. I was working for the University of Phoenix, where I went on to receive both my master's degrees. One was in management, human resources management, and then the other one was in adult education and training. And so I went on to work with you, Jackie, over at Walden University, and we got into training and instructional design together, and what a ride that was. And little did we know, here we would be 13 years later. I worked between that time. Worked at Intel, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona, and now I'm working at Apple with T5 Data Center. They're an entity inside of Apple, working with Apple and manage contracts things. So working as a site training specialist now for the Maiden, North Carolina area.
Wow, that's exciting. So you've been able to really work for some really well-known industries, and that's amazing. And working at Apple, that's impressive to see that your journey has taken you there and everything. So you mentioned a little bit about what kind of work you currently do. So if you want to expand upon that a little bit, that would be great about that.
Yeah,
the kind of work.
Sure. I was literally hired a week ago. We were talking a little bit before. I was hired a week ago into a new and higher role at Apple with T5. I'll be now, what we'll be doing as we move to North Carolina, I'll be the first point of contact for all the training needs for the Apple Maiden, North Carolina campus. So my family and I'll be relocating in September back to North Carolina. So we're excited about that. And while I'll not be personally training individuals or group, that's not going to be my role. I'm a site training specialist. But like I said, I'm going to be the first point of contact for their leaders there. So I'll be doing needs analysis. I'll be doing designing and working with logistics and scheduling the trainings in close relationship with my boss. But I'll still be doing some e-learning development because our group is really based out of Dallas, Texas. And so we still have some needs that are around the country because Apple, we have places all over, data centers all over. So, there's still things that need to be done. But we'll have later on here in the near future, we're going to have a instructional designer, e-learning developer in the near future that's going to be working with me as well. So what I'll be doing is meeting with the leaders to discuss all the different groups they have there, such as sites, services, facilities, logistics, et cetera. And I'll be helping them with all of the pieces that are needed to come up with those specific trainings, the logistics of all of it.
Wow, that's exciting.
Does
this also give you an opportunity to travel to the different sites as well? Will you have that chance?
That's a great question. I know that they're going to. My boss was talking a little bit about it. We're not sure yet how all that's going to play in to the pieces, but I am assuming that there's going to be some travel possible. And so it for me, it's like, it's a big, but they all come in. Like, we're here right now in Arizona. I'm here located in Arizona up the Mesa Data Center. And so they'll come in, the group will have a big what you would call mini conference, like we used to have at Walden. Remember when we get all the groups together and we would have all of our discussions and go over our visions, and the boss, our manager would go over the vision for the group and what new pieces we were going to be working on, things like that. And so that's what we do. And it's really great. We have a team that's like a well-oiled machine. Like our boss, Roger, is just like, he's amazing. Like he's probably, if not one of the best boss I've ever had. He's not a micromanager. He expects you to do your work. Now, he's not just sitting there going, okay, just do whatever. He expects you to make it happen. And we make it happen. And everybody's good at something. And that's one thing I've pushed our group, is that whatever you're good at, let's use that. Let's utilize it. And that's what's made me good at being in instructional design over the years, is helping people, pulling the best out of people to becoming that piece and working on that piece and being the best piece you can be in that puzzle, because it's going to make us all that much better. Then that way we can look at you, and whenever you need something, you can look at us. And so it's really been a great big help for our group.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's kind of like that sports analogy, right? Where, we work like a team and we all do our part to come together and make it happen. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great. Wonderful. So how did you become interested in this position, and even in the wider industry that you currently work in? How did that come about?
You.
Wow, I feel humbled by that.
No, really, like you and I started out together in Ambitions at Walden, and
right.
We just wanted to help people. That's what we were doing, right? And then Candace, our boss, she basically kicked us out the door, literally, folks. She kicked us out. She said, "Listen, you guys are too good. There's training positions that are open. There's instructional design position that's open. And you need to move. You need to go because you've got a lot more potential." And so, it was one of those things where you don't really see it as a benefit. You're kind of like unsure. And then, when we got there and we thought, because everybody else before us had done really well when they moved over in the position, we thought we were going to do really well. And then we didn't get what we thought we was going to get. And it's like, man, now we got more work. And It was just, but in saying all that jokingly, it was really, you really got to see that you weren't just helping one person. Like in admissions, we were helping one individual to get through at a time. But here we were doing trainings, building trainings that were going to be helping 50 people, 100 people. And now not only that, you were going to helping families. You were changing dynamics. You were doing things. So that's really what kind of got it all started. But for me, I started out rough. Like, hey, I'm just being straightforward. It was hard. I had some really rocky times. But when others, Jackie, I'm like this, when others can't see it in you, you have to see it for yourself. You have to see it in yourself. Yeah. And so I knew that I could do it. I knew that I got to my master's degrees. I knew that I had the ability to do, and to be the best. And so, I'm good at what I do and I love what I do. So it's always, just been important to me, talking about the industry, it's always been important to me to get myself into the best online universities or companies in America, Fortune 500 companies or better. So like I was telling you before, when people are looking at my resume, I'm 52 years old. And when you're 52 years old, people, they quit looking at you because there's younger people, they're learning different things. But what helps me is by being at these companies, the Lord helped me set this up because it wasn't just me. I thank the Lord for his blessings in my life. But having these companies on my resume like Intel, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Apple, University of Phoenix, Walden University, they know when people see my resume, it helps get my resume to the front of the line. So when employers see my resume, they know that they're getting someone that has been in the best groups out there. They've been a part of the best cultures in America, and they know what to expect because, I've worked hard to be the best. And so I really feel like that's been the difference maker. That's what's really helped me, is because helping people see the lights come on, being with companies. I want to tell you this one quick story about that to tell you how crazy it is, how great it is. I want to push people to do that. Be at the best companies. Look for it. Don't just go and put in for any job. Look for the job you want and put in for it, and tell yourself, I'm going to get this. Do what, you got to do it. You got to put it in. You got to have that mentality. I remember when I first went to Intel rather. When I went to Intel for the first day, you had to walk up these stairs, Jackie, to get to the second floor where my office was located. When I walked up that first set of steps on that floor to get up to my office, I heard 3 different conversations in 3 different languages. One was Mandarin, one was in Spanish, and one was in some other language. I do not know what it was. It was Middle Eastern of some sort. And I was like, I saw these young people, and I was like, man, it just rejuvenated me, because I was in my mid 40s, and here I was, and getting a chance to work at Intel. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And it pushed me, and it just it made me come back alive. And that's what pushed me to go even harder. And it's brought me to where I am today. And so I'm very grateful for all those people, everyone that had a place in helping me, all the way back to the University of Phoenix, all the way forward, helping me to get where I am today. And you too, I appreciate you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, it's all a team effort, and
yes.
To know that, so it sounds like, you want to make sure that people don't stay stagnant where they are or settle, right, for something.
Don't ever settle.
Push yourself, right?
Yeah.
I tell that to all my students all the time. Push yourself, and it may be hard. You may be sometimes running against the wind, but that's okay, because the Lord will be with you, and you're going to always
that's
have
right.
him there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Jackie, I can tell you this. I'll say this because I'm sure that your students will probably listen to it. If you guys ever, I'm just saying this out to the students, alumni, whoever, if you ever wondered about Jackie Pellegrin and where she comes from, I can tell you her humble beginnings. I know exactly, sitting right against the window seat. We were back there, and there was a lot of rough days, and we just kept grinding. We didn't know why we were grinding sometimes, but we kept grinding. And, she is everything. Like, people that know her would hire her in a heartbeat. I've talked to her many times. Hey, Jackie, there's openings around here, and stuff. So, she is good at what she does. She's very good. Very good.
Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate that.
Oh,
warms my
you
heart.
Kidding? Yeah, my goodness. Like, you are that good. That's why I'm saying it, right?
Thank you. I appreciate it. So are there any specific areas in which you're expanding your knowledge and skills in this particular field right now? Jackie, for me personally, it's always been about micro learning. That has been, I believe, the game changer for all learning and development. Think about this: scenario-based trainings, AI, AR, VR. I mean, it's all great stuff. Don't get me wrong. It deserves all the credit it's receiving right now. But there were other things. There were other things that came out before all this showed up. I mean, back in the day when we first got started, the things now, it's interactive. It pulls in the learners. It confirms. It solidifies the learning. And here comes the dreaded word, Jackie, but. Mm-hmm. You can have all of these things. You can use AI. You can use VR, AR, all these different things. But if your training is long, I don't care how good it is, you're working against the goal you're trying to reach and accomplish, even starting as low, or I should say starting as small as when you're working on your school projects. You need to think about that a lot. You make something long, you're going to lose your learner's interest, because for workers, time is money, time is freedom to spend with their family, time is valuable, and time is not what they have a lot of. I just read an article that experts are saying we have to catch the learner's attention. This has been a statistic has been building
that we have to catch the learner's attention in the first 8 to 10 seconds. And that learner's attention span after that is like 10 to 15 minutes. Think about that.
Right.
Today, you know what I'm saying? Today, learners want the main pieces, why and how, and let me get back to work. You and your learning and development group might get all excited about how great the role play is that you built or how dynamic your e-learning is with all the wow moments and buttons. But consider your learner. That learner may be in a job role that they have been put on a performance review. Their job demands may have changed. Their families are counting on them to make every moment count. So what that means to me is I need to help them as much as I'm helping the leaders. I think about a Hershey Kiss. You ever had a Hershey Kiss when you just having that chocolate craving and you eat that Hershey Kiss? It's like, oh man, wow, this just made my day. Well, that's what micro learning is for me, because I need to help them. I need to be that Hershey's Kiss and help them as much as I'm helping the leaders. Micro learning helps to cut out all the clutter, makes every moment of my 5 to 10 minute training memorable, effective, and concise. So that is what I'm trying to continually and constantly get better at, because there's plenty of websites, articles out there. I think you even did people need to go back and listen. You did a podcast on that, on the micro learnings. I guess it was not too long ago we were talking. And, you've got ATD, LinkedIn, e-learning industry. There's all kinds of things out there that you can help to get better, better at what you're doing and trying to make that just that much more greater, because micro learning is where it's at. I don't care what anybody tells you. I've been all over this place, and I can tell you everybody wants something that's quick, to the point, and helps them be better. They can take it out right now and use it.
Absolutely.
Period.
Yeah. And what's really nice is that for those of my students and those in the industry that use Rise 360, they have a micro learning part. So you can either create a full course or a micro learning. And they have a lot of templates too, which is really great. So they're promoting that micro learning concept and trying to help learners and developers to do that. So it's really exciting as well. So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's fine. I was just going to ask you if there's specific instructional design models or theories that you think complement microlearning really well to kind of help with that, because microlearning can be a great way to have that rapid development and be able to turn out that learning much quicker, right? Hello, I have some exciting news to share with all of my listeners. There is a feature called Fan Mail. What this allows you to do is send me a text message anytime during the episode. There's a link located at the top of the description in each episode, and it says Send Jackie a Text Message. So when you click on that link, you'll be able to send me a message letting me know what you thought about the episode and if you have any ideas for future episode content as well. I look forward to seeing your text messages. Thank you.
Yeah, and I would be telling you a fib if I said, there's something specific. Like I probably fall into some of these categories, like Sam. Sam is a big one. And it's not just because it's 3 letters and it spells out somebody's name, but it is. It's very it's built on that type of agile learning. It can change on a dime. And if you need something changed right away, and I think that's really when it comes down to micro learning, I think that what it becomes is when you're in an industry, like I can tell you for a fact, when I was working at Intel, you get to the place to where people, they say, okay, we want this. And so you're like, okay, you go through all the questions, you do it out just exactly the way you wrote it out. And all this is perfect. And, they're going to love this. And they're talking really great. And then all of a sudden you talk to them on Wednesday. By Friday, that's changed. And now, oh my gosh, they just bought a new system. We're bringing in a new system. So guess what? put that project on hold. We've got to do something else. Or they say, no, you know what? This is not going to work now. We've got to change this and go a different direction. You got to be able to change on a dime. So going with Addy, while it is very thorough, it's not going to work. Right? It's just not going to be, because you don't have enough time. You don't have a month to put into something and go through and do a poll with all the groups and say, hey, what did you see here? And what are you doing? So, for me, it's, again, what makes it fast, efficient, and effective.
Right.
That's really what it comes down to. And while I love all these things that are out there, I've tried the AI models. I've used it. I've built some. I think I even sent you something that I'd made a couple of months back for one of our groups. And it's really cool. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. But again, if you're not getting things out there quickly within a couple of minutes, like I can tell you right now, most of the trainings that I've got right now, that I've built right now, you could see them within 3 to 7 minutes.
That's awesome. Wow.
And so that gets it out there. And people are like, well, yeah, but how can you get everything out? You've got a bunch of questions. You can build scenario-based questions that ask them quick, to the point references back to the materials you're trying to confirm the learning with. So don't think that you can't. You got to learn to think outside the box in this type of environment if you want to be the best.
Right. And it focuses on, you want to be the best, you got to focus on that and make it to where it's just one objective, right? So you're not trying to teach them 3 different things in one 10-minute video, because otherwise there's that cognitive load problem, right? Where you're overwhelming the learner and they're just not, how are they going to remember 3 different things in 10 minutes, right? It's just not going to happen.
Let me tell you one other story. This is hilarious. I tell everybody this story. I said, this is the kind of things that you see in industries that people do not get, and why you need to be good at your position. You need to be able to talk to people, work with people, understand people, and it is a people business. If you're not into people, if you don't like to talk to people, then you're in the wrong industry, because you definitely have to work with people and help them to understand what they're looking for. And maybe they don't see it right now, but you're there to help design that canvas and help paint that picture for them so that they can see better. I was at Intel, and I lie you not, there was a physicist that had a engineer program that he wanted to get done. My boss came to me and she said, Anthony, I need you to work with such and such, and he's got this and he needs this done. I said, okay. So I go in there. God be my witness, Jackie, I get handed a 400. I'm not forgetting anything. I'm not adding to it. I'm telling you, 400 PowerPoint slide.
Oh my gosh.
PowerPoint slide. I couldn't even get it on my computer, right? You know how big that is? And he had all this stuff. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. And his words to me were this: I don't want you to change it. I don't want you to touch it. I want you to put it together in a e-learning and get it out there. So what do? Like, right? Do you just march in there and say, well, you're not going to get it this way. This is what I'm going to do. This is where the people point comes in, where you have to be good at your job and be people-minded and learner-minded, right? And this is where the micro-learning comes in. So what I tried and I was able to get across to him is, listen, I don't want to change your stuff because you're the engineer. You're the SME. I'm just the instructional designer. I'm trying to bring and broadcast that incredible piece that you just put together out to the masses so that people can be better at their jobs and help you to take load off of you. When I built him up, like I made him feel good about who he was. And then I helped him to understand, listen, if I break this down into chapters, into pieces, then your learners are going to be able to take away everything that you taught them, and they're going to be able to duplicate what you've done. Therefore, you're going to be able to get out on those new projects that you've been so trying hard to do. And now you can have guys coming in behind you that you know they're not going to mess things up. When I did that, he took that and he said, let's do it. And
Wow.
so that was part of that. And that's one of the best stories I've ever had. And it led to different things. It led to Intel has this thing they call the fellowship. It's basically their doctorates. They have their PhDs, and these guys are the thinking tank, if you will, at Intel. And I had one of their guys reach out to me and ask me about helping with one of the projects after that. So if you can do those things, I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you,
right.
I've been there. I know what these guys are looking for. And like I said, I had a hard start. Jackie can tell you it was hard for me when I first got started. You know, it was hard for me to get between goals and objectives. There were such fine lines there. I was like, a goal and an objective. I thought they were the same, but it was just that one of those things. But once the lights kick on, you're trying to help. If you can keep in your mind, I'm trying to help these adult learners to be better so that they can help their families. If you can keep that in your mind, you're going to do so much better than somebody that's just out here trying to get a check and trying to woo people. That just doesn't work. After a while, it wears off.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like the newness. Yeah. It wears off. You built that trust and rapport. And I think that's so important to build that. And then they look to you for being that expert, and they want to do future projects. So building that early on is so important. Absolutely.
Yeah, it really is, Jackie.
Yes. So the final question, and I think even one of the most important for all of my students and those that are getting ready to graduate, what are some tips and advice that you can share with those who are currently in the master's program in instructional design at GCU?
Sure. Wow. I'm going to tell you, even just getting to this point, first and foremost, if you're listening to this broadcast, I want to tell you congratulations. You worked your butt off to get here. You got to your bachelor's degree. That was a grind. The support, everybody that got you here, all that stuff. So I want to say congratulations on getting to be what you're truly trying to be, being the best at what you can be. And I thought about this. The first thing that I would literally do, Jackie, is I would get 10 to 20 interview questions and sign up if you're not already signed up, but sign up on LinkedIn and and get connected to some instructional designers that are out in the field. Now, I know Jackie's good. She's very good, but get outside of there. Get outside of the box. Get somebody that you don't even know and find out, hook up with some of these groups. These instructional design groups are all over LinkedIn, and connect somebody and get those 10 to 20 questions. And the first question I want you to ask them, the very first question is, what's a bad day like? Don't ask them what a good day's like, because everybody will tell you what a good day's like. I can tell you all kinds of great stories, but ask them what a bad day's like, because I'm going to tell you something. And this is what I've always stressed to students back in the day when I was working with students, and in every field that I've helped young people in, and even adults in when they were changing careers. If you can get and deal with that bad day, imagine how you're going to feel when you get to the good day. All right. You've got to be able to deal with a bad day, because if you can't deal with a bad day, then you obviously are not going to get to do it. So that's my very first thing. I always tell people, when you're looking to do something different, when you're looking at, this is what I want to do with my life, your first question should be, what's a bad day like? And if you like that, if you're okay with that, you're going to be fine. Just keep on rolling. So that's the first piece. The second thing that, and you and I have been in this so many times, Jackie, is learning to be okay with chaos.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I agree.
You got to learn to be okay with chaos. Treat your class projects like you would treat a deadline in business. Right. And I know some of you may not have been in business before, but when you're, how you get when you're running behind on a project that's due for class and it carries a big portion or weight of your final grade. Well, that happens regularly in a business atmosphere, regularly. And so Absolutely. The groups that you work with will tell you, we want this, but then at the same time, that group turns around a week and you've almost got the project completed, and they want to change in some way. The timeline just got moved up by a week. They need it next Monday. So use this type of process and those projects in your schooling to keep yourself ready at all times and to keep yourself pushing yourself to doing good and doing it fast. Because when you get out in the work field, they're going to expect you to know this stuff. They're going to expect you to be moving. Now, don't get me wrong. They're not going to come out here and just drop the biggest project of your life on you, but you're going to feel like it. Like I can't speak for Jackie, but I can kind of feel, because we talk a lot, or we've talked a lot in the past. We felt that way when we first got into it, when it was a simple stuff, and we thought, oh my Lord, and you're going back and forth with each other and other individuals, like, hey, can you help me? I need to create a click box. You remember that back in the day, Jackie, click boxes in Captivate, when it was really old Captivate, like using a calculator. So use this time to understand and learn to be okay with chaos, because I promise you, that is what this industry is built on. Training and instructional design is all about helping to smooth out the chaotic pieces in business. The third thing I would tell you is, we just spoke about a little bit, push yourself to be the best. Never be satisfied with whatever everybody else is doing, to get by. You're going to get paid to do this in the future. So you're going to get paid a little bit, or you're going to get paid a lot, depending solely on how well you do and how good you are. Jackie and I both, and other individuals like ourselves, had to work very hard to get where we're at. It didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen because we wished it to. It was faith walking in shoe leather. Like, you had to make it happen. You had to study. You had to take extra time, because people have asked me before. They're like, why do you work, in hours? And I'm just telling you about me. I'm not telling you have to do this. I'm not telling you everybody. I know people that would frown at this and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe you asked people to do this. But let me just shoot straight with you. Okay. Let me just be blunt with you. Okay. I've worked a lot of hours that I didn't get paid for. A lot. And I did it because I wanted to be good. I was either on a Saturday learning some new technology. I was on lynda.com back in the day, when lynda.com, now they're LinkedIn Learning. I've been on LinkedIn learning new ways of doing things. I just got done a little while back with an AI project. I was learning how to use that. Took me all day to do something probably other guys could have done simply. But I didn't know the technology at that point, and so now I do. But I'm saying, spend the time so that you can get paid in the future. There's one kid, one story that comes to my mind is, his name is Marvin Harrison Jr. If you don't know who he is, I would suggest look him up on YouTube. You'll find him. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a football player for The Ohio State University, and his dad was Marvin Harrison, and he's senior, and he played for the Indianapolis Colts with Peyton Manning and won a Super Bowl. Now, I said that to say this. Marvin Harrison Jr., they caught him on the training facility. It's a dome. He was in there 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning catching balls. They said, man, what are you doing? He said, man, I want to be the best. If you look at now, he's one of the highest receivers. He doesn't miss. You throw him the ball, I don't care if it's wherever it's at, he's going to get it. He's going to get paid. He doesn't need the money. His dad's a millionaire, billionaire, whatever. I'd say millionaire. Let's tone that back. Let's be straight. But he doesn't need the money, but he wants to be the best at what he does. There's pride in what he's doing. And that's what I say. If you want to be good at what you're doing, you're going to get paid for it. You're either going to get paid little or a lot. How good do you want to be paid? That's the way and how good do you want to feel about yourself, and how good do you want people to talk? So that's the third thing. And then the final thing that I want to, say is this, and I mean this with everything that's in me. And Jackie knows my life. She's been around me a lot all my life, or I should say all my life, but in my instructional design life, she's been around me and she knows me. Keep the Lord Jesus first in your life. And I'm not just saying that. I live it every day, because I don't want to know my life without him. I grew up in church. My dad was a pastor. My granddad was a pastor. But that didn't make me anything. I wanted to be what the Lord wanted me to be, and I want to stay in the church. I don't want to know what life is like without the Lord. I haven't found anything better, and you never will. This life is hard. It's hard to navigate. Schooling, jobs, family, everything is getting tougher these days with technology at the speed of light. And you make at least, it's on average, 3,000 decisions per day, consciously and unconsciously. And I'm talking like you get up, you brush your teeth. Just getting up is a decision, right? Just getting up. So you make 3,000 decisions per day on average. Now think about how important, if just 1% of those decisions is important, that's 30 decisions that you're going to make every day that are very important to your life. And for me, the most important decision in my life is staying close to the Lord Jesus Christ, period. There is no substitution. There is no job that's worth my relationship with the Lord. I've turned down jobs because of it. I've walked away with a smile because of it. And I'm not going to change who I am or what I'm doing. I would rather make everything and make all my decisions with Jesus on my side than the alternative. And that's where I leave it.
Yeah. Thank you, Anthony. This is very insightful. And I think a lot of my students will love this and really get a lot of rich information out of it because, we want to be able to, learn from each other. And so I think having you as an expert come into this and speak into it, you're in the trenches every day, just like me.
Yes,
and so we're able to shed some light on that and help our future instructional designers and e-learning developers and curriculum developers, those that, like you said, want to help others and want to do good and doing the Lord's work at the end of the day. Right. I think that's what it's all about. Right. Yeah. So I appreciate your time and we'll be releasing this soon, so it'll be exciting. So thank you so much for your time again.
You're welcome. And listen, if you're with Jackie, a friend of Jackie's is a friend of mine. So if your students need anything, Jackie, if they've got a question down the road that, they're just curious about, please feel free. You've got my contact information. Feel free to, get with me and let me know, and I'll do everything I can to help. And, because that's what it's all about. People helped us. If people hadn't helped us, and I know you'll know this, I'll stop with this, making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
I do.
So it's all about making that peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I thank Kim Haslam for that because it definitely changed, it changed the dynamics. And Absolutely. So I want to help you. I want to help you guys out. So anything I can do, please let me know.
I appreciate that. Yeah, because all the students here will have real life projects. So if they ever need a authentic learner to test something out, they can come to you too. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're
Thanks
welcome.
Again, Anthony.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.
Thank you for taking some time to listen to this podcast episode today. Please take a moment to like the episode and share it with others so they can learn about this topic as well. Have a great day.